it's selfish. It's selfish as hell. Like, and it's cute. You can let that game, and I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with that. It is in this moment though when you're choosing yourself and what you want over what y'all was trying to do. Mm-hmm. That's selfish as hell. And no, she's not wrong for y'all. And I would have black too. What the fuck you mean? You spent this money that we said we was ready. Oh,
I would have broke the PC. I tell you lies and it's just so toxic. You lie, I lie too. Girl, I don't love you. You know it's lies when I say it's just you. But don't be mad, boo. I once believed too. First, let me make this clear. It's DNS Soldier.
This is Robby Too Fast, you feel me? Thank you for tuning in to the Two Sides of the Heart podcast, streaming wherever you get your podcasts. You feel me? First things first, you know, second thing is second, third thing is third. All right, now today, we got 3 good topics for you. I'm going to let y'all know what it is off rip so y'all can already tune in. All right? First thing we talking about is logic versus emotion. Intent versus impact. The two eyes. You know what I mean? And honesty. We talked about this a little bit on the second episode, right? Honesty versus transparency. And then at the end, we're going to get into a little bit of Am I Open-Minded? And we got a word of the day for y'all today. All right? But first things first, logic versus emotion. I'm going to let you go ahead, Soldier.
Excuse me. Man, that's a sensitive one for me, I ain't gonna lie, bro, because,
Why?
I ain't gonna lie, I'm biased on it, and as I've come to, you know, start to hear, I seen this guy on TikTok, and he was talking about how men are actually more emotional than females,
yeah,
and I really see where he was coming from, but do I fully agree with him? No, not at all, but, you know, I'll say, a lot of the times, men are more logical, than females, you feel me? Or men go off of logic, and females go off of emotions.
For sure.
And it's a big difference, to be honest with you, bro.
Yeah.
But I feel like, to be honest, to get the perfect solution, sometimes you need a delicate balance, and the balance may not be 50-50. You know what I mean? To be honest with you, because I feel like whatever you do, you need to have emotions into it, but at the same time, it needs logic.
Yeah, I definitely agree with the. I agree that men are more. I don't know if I'll say more or not, but I can see that statement coming into play that men are more emotional than women. Sure. And I can definitely, I mean, it's undeniable, man. Men are more logical, women are more emotional. Does that mean that all women are straight emotional? No. Does it mean that all men are straight logical? No. We each have both. There are just most of the moments, most of the times in our decision making is logic based. Hey, look, I need to get from here to here. It makes the most sense. I need to get to dinner at 8. It makes the most sense that we get dressed by this time, leave the house by 7:15 so we can get to the place at 7:45 so that we can get the parking, hop in the place and be there by 7:53 and 30 seconds. You feel me? So that, you know what I mean? So that everything is, you know, I'm like, well, I picked out an outfit, but I don't think it looks good on me right now.
Shit.
Yeah, I think we have to take pictures before we leave because I need to make sure that I feel like I look good. You know what I mean? And I ain't gonna lie, that's something I learned. Like, I used to always get it. I'm like, I would hear my significant other, my old significant other. She would be like, "I'm ugly," and I'd be like, you got to be the most gorgeous woman I've ever seen in my life. What you talking? First of all, watch your mouth. Watch your mouth. But like, you know what I mean? Like, I just don't get it. But I get, oh, you don't feel like you look cute. You don't feel beautiful right now. So you know, Deion Sanders said it the best. You look good, you feel good.
Hell yeah.
You know, you feel good, you play good, you know what I mean? But like, she didn't feel like she was beautiful. So she got the dolled up, you know what I mean? Or not dolled up, just always beautiful every day. But not feeling like that, you know, that's that thing. But then for me, it's like, hey, look, I know I look good. Sometimes I don't feel like it, but that don't change how I look, you know? But that's just, you know, logically speaking, not really thinking like, man, I might feel like shit right now. So, or you know what I mean? I might not be having the best day. So then that then translates into now I look like Shrek. You know what I mean? I think the biggest thing that I would say, kind of what you were talking about, is just that balance. Like a lot of people in people in relationships, I say more relationships don't have that balance. You be in an argument, and the man is talking about the logical parts, but the woman is talking about the emotional parts. Or sometimes the woman might be logical, and then the man is talking about his emotions, and it's like, you know, we've talked about it in previous episodes. It's like, I can't understand why you would why you think that. You know what I mean? But you're thinking logically, like, it makes absolutely no sense for you to be thinking like that. But it's like, emotions are not like that. They're sometimes unpredictable. They're, you know what I mean? And sometimes it's based off things that sometimes wouldn't make sense to you because you didn't go through that experience. You know what I mean? You're not that person. Like, you know, like for me, like, for instance, like football, like, it's such a huge thing for me. You know, some people, like, it's just a game. Like, it's not that important. But for me, like, nah, you don't understand. Like, I grew as a person because of that. Like, it's something that I mastered. Like, I was very talented at it. I'm very knowledgeable about it. It's something that is near and dear to my heart emotionally. Now, logically, it is just a game. It doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. Probably not. You know, if I don't play football, am I going to die? No. If I don't watch the Ravens on Sunday, am I going to die? No. Shout out Lamar Jackson, you feel me? But emotionally, though, like, there's that attachment there. Like, the Ravens lose, that fucks up the rest of my day. Possibly the week. Keep it a buck with you, you know? But it's just that push and pull, that tug of, like, you know, it just depends on what means the most to you and in different situations, you know, different arguments and everything, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I ain't gonna lie, bro. It's like speaking two different languages.
Cool.
Like, emotion and logic is like two different languages because a lot of times, how you said, like, I be in an argument with my shawty and it's like, I'm coming at it from a logical sense. Like, you feel me? But she's coming from emotions, and emotions are not logical.
Nah.
That right there is a fact. Now, it can be, you feel me? I said this, it hurt your feelings, this, that, but at the end of the day, bro, you could feel some type of way, and it's like, there's no reason to, you just feel that way. Like, but when dealing with that, what I had to learn was one at a time. You know what I mean? If she is emotional right now, and you know what I mean, she think, okay, you know what? Let's deal with her emotions. Let's deal with this, and then we'll spin back around to what I was saying logically. Because once you validate a female's emotions and you talk about it, and she gets whatever she needs to get out on her chest, she's more acceptable to listening to what you got to say logically. And it's not even just with females, it's everybody. Like, if your emotions are running high, you're not thinking straight. You know what I mean? But when you sit down and you calm down, you know what? That motherfucker was right. That motherfucker was right. Because, like, sometimes I'll be wrong, but sometimes I'll notice that I'm wrong, but my pride, you feel me, my feelings, instead of thinking logically, you know, you're wrong, nigga, just apologize, just that, and my pride gets in the way, and I don't want to apologize. You know what I'm saying? Who the fuck? I'm not doing that shit.
What I look like?
You know what I mean? But
at
the end of the day, though, you gotta handle it. You can't do both. You, like, if she coming at me emotionally, I'm coming at her like, we just gonna sit there for the next 2 hours and saying a whole bunch of words that neither one of us comprehend. We gonna sit there, why the fuck are we even arguing? You know what I mean? But if you handle the emotional and then you go to logical, you handle the logical then go to the emotional, you'll be able to see wherever that person's coming from.
I feel like they can go, you can, not immediately at the same time, but, like, for instance, right, it's like, hey, look, I'm sorry because I made you feel this way. Sorry for what I said that made you feel this way. This is exactly where I was coming from. You know, I see how this can be misunderstood. You know, like, in that sentence right there, I talked about the emotional and the logical part at the same time. And, you know, so kind of addressing both so that you see that I recognize that I hurt your emotions. Also, where I'm coming from. Now, I've heard my sister Olivia, she actually told me that, she said, I don't give a fuck about why you did what you did in that moment. And that kind of goes into the next thing we talk about, like, intent versus impact. You know, like, you don't give a fuck because your feelings are hurt in that moment, which is completely understandable. You have that right. Now, to move forward, though, you kind of do got to give a fuck because if you're trying to be with somebody long term, like why they do things and everything helps with that understanding. Like we talked about in the last episode, like the more you understand, the less susceptible you are to being, offended or to like really thinking that they did something to hurt you, because you understand them and like, oh, okay. Like in that moment you be like, what the fuck? But then hold on. Last time this happened, this is kind of how this went. If you really take a step back and look, like this is how all these things went. This is who this person is. This is the conversation we had. All right. Yeah, that hurt my feelings, but I know who I'm dealing with, and I know that this is why they do things the way that they do. Like, for instance, like if we're when I'm talking about certain stuff, I get very hype and I cuss a lot. Does that mean that I'm pissed or that I'm upset at you? Nah, I'm just passionate about what I'm speaking about, right? I need to work on my cussing. I'm trying to chill, but like that just shows that I'm passionate about it. It doesn't mean that I'm like attacking you or anything. That just shows you that I care about what I'm talking about, But if you don't understand that, you start to hear cussing, then you automatically think like that. Look, why are you talking to me like that? You know what I mean? So just kind of having that understanding goes a long way, especially if you're trying to be with somebody in the long run. Like we talk about, dating and marriage. Like if you're trying to marry somebody, that's something that's going to be very important once you get married. That save a lot of headache and heartache and a lot of stress. You know what I mean? Because you think like, why would my husband talk to me like that? Not really understanding like, no, he's not talking to me like that. That's how he talks to me. He's passionate.
Yeah, but I feel like it has to be a balance. And the reason I say that is because, okay, right? You're like, you get passionate and you curse a lot, right? Okay, cool. But it's like, at the same time though, I'm a person, it depends on how you cursing, right? If you're like, yo, fuck you, you a stupid ass, you know what I mean? You're not gonna catch it. I don't give a fuck if that's how you are as a person.
See that and that's the thing. What I'm saying, like, it's not like there's a difference. Like, not like that's attacking you. You know what I mean? Like, what I'm saying is like, man, what the fuck? Like, this shit really got me fucked up. Like, this shit is kind of blowing me for real. Like, I don't really understand why this person would do this.
Like, I still feel like it's kind of on the same, because like, let's say the person you're talking to, if that's the type of thing, like they just don't like, you using that language while speaking to them, right? It's like, okay, I know as a person you're passionate, but you also got to know as know your other person, and it's like you got to be able to dial that down. Yeah, you're passionate, but you also got to keep in your mind like, okay, you know what? They actively don't like this, so let me bring this back a little. So if I was gonna say 10 curse words, I might say 7, and it's like, at the same time, you also have to understand that person is trying. You know what I mean? First of all, it takes a while. They say 21 days to instill a habit.
That's the point right there.
Oh yeah, bro. Like, you really gotta understand, like, well, he gets passionate and he curses a lot, but this time he tried to refrain. I could see him stopping himself, Those are all things that get overlooked. Because
but I say, instead of, as soon as you hear me cuss, you just said you're not gonna cuss. Well, it's not gonna go away immediately, especially, man, if I just met you a year ago, I've been passionately cussing for 15 years. You know what I mean? But at the same time, that doesn't mean that I'm not trying. It means that it's just going to take time.
Something that my shawty that I had to learn, like she be telling me like certain things, she has to be able to do it in her own way. You know what I mean? So it's like, for instance, you're passionate, you're cursing, you're this, that, and the fourth, and I could want you to stop, right? But the way you have to train yourself to stop could be very different from how I want you to stop. How like she might want you to just cut that shit out completely, right? But you might need to just dial back little by little as you go on, or replace the cursed word with another word, you know what I mean? So instead of what the fuck, what the freak, you know what I mean? Like, but it takes time, and you gotta allow that person that time that they need to make the changes. But sometimes, bro, the other person is emotional about it, or just how you're like, you just said you weren't gonna curse. Well, I said I'm gonna try. You know what I mean? I said I'm gonna try to bring it back. So you gotta give me that time though to bring that shit back.
That room for them to grow.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And I think that's something too that I've dealt with. I don't know if you've dealt with that, where people don't have the patience to allow you to grow, or maybe I haven't had the patience to allow them to grow. Like it's a work in progress on both ends. Like, while I'm trying, you know what I mean? And it's like actively trying. Like, don't just say you're gonna try and then be like, well, I don't give a fuck. Like, oh, it's gonna take time. Like, nah, that's not an excuse. That's not an excuse. Like, you can't just be saying that, like, oh, whatever. Like, now you gotta have to be like, all right, look, like, really doing the work? Like, are you really taking the time? Like, and like the very next argument, it is not going to be that drastic of a change, and to expect it to be is not logical.
Well, it depends on what you're asking for, right? For instance, like certain things, like I believe, like let's say you're a person who gets physical, right?
Oh hell,
you know what I mean? That's certain things that where Shawty's like, yeah, you know, when you get like that, that's something that needs to be cut instantly. It's like if you get to that point where you feel like you're ready to get physical, get up and leave. You know what I mean? There's certain things you can do, but there's other things like how you said, like if I've been passionately cursing for this long, this, that, and the fourth, but I still feel like there's certain things that, you know, hey, that shit needs to be cut instantly. Like, on spot.
Physical's crazy. I ain't gonna lie.
Hey, it happens, bro.
It do. I mean, being real, it does. But that's something that you can't be. You know, you can't. But like, which I said I was gonna try. Like, nah.
Not funny.
People get beat is not funny.
But I do not condone that.
Nah, don't condone that at all. Put your hands on my sisters. That's it. Y'all don't gonna see me no more. It's gonna be Soldier on the Two Sides of the Heart podcast.
Shit, I'm
about to say that'll be the end of the podcast. It's been real. You feel me? But like,
do it off the jail calls. Here's the thing. With the intent and the impact, right? A lot of people eternalize the impact as intent. You know what I mean? It's like my feelings got hurt.
That was
my feelings got hurt. And you know what? You meant to hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
It's like, nah, I did not mean to hurt your feelings.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And there's, like, for me, I ain't gonna lie. Like I said, sometimes I'm an asshole when it comes to feelings. And it's like, I did not mean for your feelings to get hurt. But if your feelings got hurt, oh well. You feel me? That's most definitely how it was coming. And I was wrong for that. You feel me? But at the end of the day, it took time and shit like that. But it was like, I couldn't understand, like, okay, if I said that shit is dumb, you know, and you took it for me calling you dumb, that's not necessarily the case.
Mm-hmm.
But if your feelings got hurt and you feel like I'm calling you dumb, it's my job to reassure you that is not the case. You know what I mean? Instead of being like, I didn't say that, so why the fuck do you feel like that? Like, you love me.
And I think something too that I've done or work on is like, maybe, and I think something else too, people are personal when they're like, I wouldn't think like that, so why do you think like that?
Exactly.
But personally, like, but going back to what I was ready to say is like, is there any way possible that somebody could feel like this or look at this like that? And if that's the case, then you got to run with that. Like, you know, that's the way that I kind of look at it, to take myself out of it, because it's easy for us to put our own selves in it and be like, if I don't think like that, you should think like that. You know, we're very, you know, that'll be our word of the day. But like, is there any way possible that somebody? Yeah, I can see that. All right, if you can see that, all right, let's take that part of it. You know, so I think that's something that I would advise people to really try to do, is like, is there any way possible that someone can feel like this somewhere? Maybe not you, maybe that's not the way that your mans would do it, or somebody, you know, your siblings, but somebody might be able to feel that way. Like, somebody might get upset if you step on their shoes. If you step on my shoes, it depends on what shoes. it
Also depends on the day. You know,
it also depends on the day too, you know. But that case in point, like, so one day you step on my, hey man, it's good, bro. You step on my shoes, you just keep pushing. You know what I mean? Excuse you. But yeah, so that's what I would advise people to do in that moment, and try to have that understanding, like really try to understand, like, where are people coming from? Who are you dealing with? You know what I mean? This person is not you. This person is not people you dealt with. This person might not even like for instance, like you're Haitian and I'm African American. You're from Florida. I'm from Maryland. We went to the same high school and everything, but you know, both of us were raised by our mothers and everything. But like, I'm the oldest. You know, you're on your mom's side, you're the second and youngest. You know what I mean?
Baby boy.
You feel so, like, it's those even little small details could make it different. Now, granted, we think very much alike in a way. You know what I mean? You know, we have a younger sister. I have 3 younger sisters. You have a younger sister. You know what I mean? But it's like, still, like, there's still certain things, like growing up in Florida, you know, you might have was taught a certain way or did it something a certain way. Or me growing up in Baltimore and then Federalsburg, it's like those little itty bitty things could make a difference in why people think the way they think, or look the way they, or react the way that they do, or even the relationships I've been in, right? Mm-hmm. The people I've dealt with, the people that you've dealt with. Those things all contribute into how we look at stuff and react to certain things, right? But then people don't think about that because, you know, we're in our own heads, we're in our own bubbles, we have our own lives. We don't think about the fact that, like, yo, it's a whole, like, what's it, like 7 billion, 8 billion people on this earth, crossing different paths and doing all these different things, all these different experiences, very similar at the same time. Very similar, you know what I mean? Like I said, like you're protective over your sister, like I'm over mine. You know, neither one of us gonna have this podcast no more if they mess with any of them. You know what I mean? You feel me? So, but at the same time, there's still other things, like the way that you, like for instance, like something we've talked about is like how, like, the word nigga, like, it means something different to you than it does to me. Mm-hmm. Like I get a little bit more offended versus, like, if a certain person of a certain persuasion says it versus you, right? But that's just, you know, the way that, from where we come from, our lineage and everything, why that is the way it is. Does that mean that you're wrong for feeling that way? Mm-hmm. Nah. Does that mean that I should get mad at you, that you should feel how I feel, or react the way that I? Nah. But just come with that understanding and knowing that, you know what I mean?
I just want to clarify, you feel me? If somebody of a certain, were to call me that word, it's not like it's okay, but depending on the day, you might catch a different reaction from it. You know, I am Haitian, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's like, it's a little different, you feel me? My people really stood on business. That's what I'm saying, you feel me?
What you trying to say?
My people stood on business, that's what I'm saying. I'll forever and always say that. But it's like, you know what I mean? It don't pain me the same way. Like, that word, I don't know, like, I'm not saying it's just a word because it holds weight to it. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, my nigga, you feel me? Like, someone, especially if I know that, like, they're trying to get under my skin, that word just don't get under my skin. You know what I mean? It's like, I feel bad for all that shit that happened. That shit was fucked up, you know what I mean? But I'm not even saying move past it because I don't feel like there's any way that we can move past that. You know what I mean? But yeah, if a white person were to come up to me and be like, nigga this, nigga that, first of all, you know, I'm gonna look at him crazy because why is you even, you know what I mean? But like, to say like, if a white person said that I'm gonna just hop up and punch him in the mouth. Like, you know what I mean? That's really OD.
I probably wouldn't do that. I just...
Nigga, who the fuck is you talking to? But, you know what I mean? To be like, I'm gonna be rah and pull a blick on, bro. Like, that's kind of crazy.
That's a lot.
You know what I mean? It's just like, I might really laugh because, like, that's so crazy to me. Like, I can't even fathom, like, walking down the street and a white person calling me a nigga, like, disrespectful. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm about saying that's something, like, I've had that experience.
Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah,
but that's crazy.
It's happened. I'm 5th grade, grown-ass man pull up. He's like, you know where Nigger Drive is? I said, damn. We were just like, what? Nigger Drive. And then drove off laughing.
Ain't gonna lie. It's actually crazy, bro. You said you was in 5th grade?
5th grade, yeah.
Bro, I had nothing better to do with his life, bro.
We're old ass white.
Like, that's crazy, bro. Like, talking to kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, at the end of the day, I feel like that word only has as much power as we allow it to have.
That's true.
So, yeah. But yeah, don't think no white folks can call me nigga either, bro. You will get slapped. You will get slapped. But punching them is crazy, you know what I mean? I'm just saying, you know what I mean?
Oh, boy. Alright. I guess we can talk about honesty and transparency.
Good.
I'll say, I feel like we really addressed a lot of it in the last episode, but for me, like, I'd rather you be transparent. Honesty is necessary, but I'd rather you be transparent. Like, if I had to choose one, I'll take transparency over honesty. Because I feel like they're both the same thing. Transparency is just taking that extra step to ensure that, like, I have all the information without me having to find it out. You know what I mean? Like, you're honest. I feel like the difference I'll say is transparency is like, you know, you let me know what's going on as soon as it happens without, you know what I mean, me having to find out. Versus honesty, it's like, if I ask you, you tell me. Like, if I don't ask, you probably won't say nothing. But, you know, if I ask, you'll tell me what it is. But it's like, why that I feel like that's a part of communication that like it takes it to the next level with building trust and respect, and you know, really a healthy and happy relationship is like taking that time to be like, you know what I mean, I'm taking a little bit more time to come home from work. Hey babe, it's traffic right now, I just want to let you know what's going on so that you can have peace of mind. You know, you need anything on the way, you know, I just like, you know, instead of waiting for you to call, where the fuck you at? Oh yeah, it's traffic. How the fuck am I supposed to know that? I'm at the crib, I'm waiting for you, I'm happy. But then now, instead of you let me know what's going on, I'm upset because you supposed to be here at 5. It's 5:55.
Where the fuck you been?
Real
Who
hard.
you been with?
Who, for real. But when you're transparent, you eliminate all of that, right? And that takes time. You know what I mean, to kind of know your person and know, you know, it takes time for certain things. Like it takes time for that because like in relationships work, you don't just hop into it doing it. And sometimes I do think it is such thing as being too honest, and not like you should hold stuff, but the way that you say stuff and the way that you present the information.
Oh, yeah.
Like you can't just be like, blah, here's all the information. Like there's a certain way once you know who you're dealing with, how to present this information, how to go about it, and letting them know things so that they can receive it in a way that, you know, they don't think that you just, you know, I don't know, talking crazy, I guess, or, you know, right, like yeah, I think that's a mistake I've made is I've been too honest at times. I've definitely been too honest, and it's like some stuff is just like not necessary. It's just not necessary. And like I feel like when I was doing that, I felt like I was doing the right thing. I'm like, I'm just being honest. Like I'm just saying what. But like can the person you're dealing with receive that information? Like, are they in a place to be able to get that information, right? And no matter how you slice it up, can they really receive it the way that you're presenting it? You know, sometimes they can't.
No, sometimes it's a little too much, or I ain't gonna lie. Okay, so my dad, not really in my life, you feel me? Whatever. But one thing that nigga said that stuck with me, sometimes people force you to lie. When he said that, I was like, well, what you mean? And he was like, sometimes, bro, people do not want to hear the truth. They don't. You know what I mean? Like, you can sit here and say X, Y, and Z, but they want to hear ABC. And you know what I mean? It's a big issue. And sometimes, you know, you just give them what they want. I tell you ABC, you're all happy. You know, X, Y, and Z is not affecting you. Like, if you're not knowing of it, you know what I mean? It's not affecting you. I'm not saying if you go cheat to not say no shit, you know what I mean? But, like,
Should be cheating anyway.
yeah, you know what I mean? No, they don't. But I really feel like some people, you just can't tell them the whole truth. And it's not even like I have to lie to you or nothing like that, but it's just like I know certain things that you cannot handle. You know what I mean? And you're going to blow this shit up, and then we're going to have to sit there and go through this whole phase just for you to get to the point where now you're like, okay, now I understand, now I was this, and it's like, well, let's just eliminate that step. You know what I mean? Why should I have to tell you this? Or why would I tell you this knowing that it's nothing, and then you're going to freak out, or whatever the case is, you know, get to overthinking. Overthinking is a big one, that's an issue. And it's like, boom, and it's like when I could have just possibly not said this, or, you know what I mean, like, lie, you know what I mean, and keep it pushing.
Yeah. I agree. I guess I don't know about the whole notion of like not telling the whole truth. I don't know how I feel about that. Maybe the wording of it, it's hard. Cause I feel like ideally I'd want to be with somebody that like I just tell you what it is.
Hell yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so I don't like the idea of having to withhold things, in general. But like, that's a hard one. That's a hard one. Like, I'd rather just be transparent. We both be transparent and keep it pushing. Like, I don't like that whole, because I feel like that makes it like there's stuff that I can't talk to you about. And I do understand that, like, you know, in a perfect world, like, I'd be able to tell my partner every and anything, and vice versa. I don't know, maybe I just have to wait for that person.
Well, here's what I'll say. Sometimes that whole, as you were saying, it takes time to get to that point where you can be, like, 100%, like, transparent. Because sometimes, like, okay, what I really, like, mean to say is, like, sometimes, bro, people like people who is real, you know what I mean? Like you're real and like you're genuine, like that's not as common as you would think, right? So when you come through and you tell this person all this stuff, right? It's like sometimes they might have it in their mind that, you know, you're lying or you're just trying to make you seem good, you're this and that. But as you go on, right, and you're like, transparency is something that takes consistency.
Yeah.
You need to constantly be doing it. You know what I mean? In a sense, for it to really get stuck in someone's head.
Right.
And for them to imitate, you feel me, transparency with you as well.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of people don't know that. Or a lot of people don't know how to be transparent. You know what I mean? So, Robby being Robby, you want to be fully transparent, right? And it's like, some people might be like, okay, you're telling me too much. Like, I don't need to know all this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a work in progress. And I feel like when you with a person, in the beginning, you may not always be able to be transparent with that person. But as y'all go on and your relationship go on and you learn this person, you learn things about them, it's a lot easier to be transparent at that point.
Yeah. So sadness.
But then again, being life with someone who's already there, it's like, in life, I feel like people are stepping stones, right?
Yeah.
So it's like a lot of people you meet, or at least for me, you know, they come my way, drop knowledge on them, you know what I mean, help them grow as a person, and they go on their journey, which is okay. And it's like, maybe you were the person that they needed to meet to learn those things for their next relationship, to really put it in work. Like, okay, now, you know, damn, Robby really showed me like how to do this, and you know what, now I can really, because sometimes I ain't gonna lie, bro, I don't know if it's a pride thing, I don't know if it's some random emotion, but sometimes when you're teaching a person something, it takes time for them to really accept that fact of what you're saying. Because, you know, when you tell a person about themselves, they get defensive, right? But then as time goes on, they start to see that shit. Like, damn, you know, that nigga was right. Okay, cool. Then they start to adjust how they need to. And it's like, damn, why couldn't you do that with me? But at the end of the day, you know what I mean? Sometimes it's just, that's what it takes.
Yeah.
Don't look so sad, buddy.
Anyways, I guess we can move on to the Am I Open-Minded? All right. Am I the asshole for always correcting my girlfriend's pronunciation? Something like that. My girlfriend, 24 female, and I, 26 male, have been together for a little over a year. We get along really well most of the time, but she does this one thing that drives me absolutely mental. She constantly mispronounces common words. It's not like she's joking or trying to be funny. She genuinely thinks she's saying them correctly. I've tried correcting her so many times, but it's like it goes in one ear and out the other. Within minutes, she'll go back to saying the wrong version again. It's not even hard words. She'll say stuff like Chick-fil-A instead of Chick-fil-A, library versus library, or occipital when she means capital. I'm weak. That's not funny. I'm sorry. It is worse when it's personal things, like the city I'm from or places I love. We're in Chicago instead of Chicago, where I grew up to visit my family right now. And it's like she doesn't even care. I don't think it's a learning thing either. She doesn't have dyslexia or any speech issues. She's just lazy about it, damn. At least that's how it feels to me. She's very smart, studying for her master's while working right now. So I don't get why this is so hard. This all came to a head today while we're staying with my parents for New Year's. She pronounced Chicago wrong again in front of my family. Then later did the same thing with my favorite restaurant. I lost my cool and snapped at her. I told her it's frustrating, and she can't even try to get it right, especially when it's stuff that matters to me. I know I probably sounded harsh, but I was just so angry. I feel like a jerk because when we talk, it's like I'm scolding a little kid and not a 24-year-old woman who should know how to pronounce simple stuff by now. She got really quiet after that and has barely spoken to me since we got in. She's been on her phone the whole time, and now I'm starting to feel like maybe I went too far. Am I the asshole for constantly correcting her or for snapping at her today?
This is one of those situations I feel like personally you're not wrong, but you're not right.
Yeah.
And I say that because one, okay, unless this dude's some sort of like doctor or whatever, like to actually know why the fuck she's. Now he said like she just thinks that's the way the words are, and we had actually spoke about she been doing something for so long. If I'm correct, like they were dating for like a little over a year.
Yeah.
So, and she's 24.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? If she spent 23, 22 years saying like whatever instead of the proper way, it might be a little hard for her to make that transition, or like in a sense, like personally to me, it's not that deep. Like if someone says the word kind of wrong, it's not that deep. Now maybe having to deal with that constantly might get under your skin, but I feel like that's a person to person thing. Because I feel like personally I pronounce like a couple words wrong, or like how I say business, you know what I mean, versus business, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
That's something I do on purpose because I just like the way it sounds better.
Yeah.
But the next person be like, nigga, that's not how the fuck you say it. This, that, and the fourth. And real loud, look at them, tell them shut the fuck up, bro. Because at the end of the day, it's not that deep. But that's to me.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I could give a damn how you pronounce stuff. Like if I know what you're trying to say, like that's what matters to me for real. Like sometimes, like if I see somebody struggling, I help them. But that's because I see you struggling. So then I'll help you with the word. But outside of that, like if you're talking and I get what you're saying, I'm gonna let it rock out. Like what? I just don't see the need in like correcting you. Like now, like if you're ready to go into an interview or something like that, like I don't want you to feel embarrassed because I didn't tell you about the word. So then I kind of say something then, and in the moment it can seem like I'm being an asshole, but like I just, who knows? The people in there might not say nothing, but if they do, I don't want you to feel bad about it. Like at least I tried to help you in that moment. But in general, like if we're just having a regular conversation, if I can understand what you're saying, I'm gonna keep pushing.
I also feel like it's damn, I lost the thought. It's on how you go about it, right? Her saying these words wrong could, trigger this nigga. And he's right for feeling like that. Excuse me. But at the same time, it's how you go about it, right? Did he have them conversations with her?
Said he did.
Being like, okay, this annoys me, this, that. Can you try to make a difference? And it's like, okay, genuinely though, goddamn, if she believes that that's how the word is pronounced, you know what I mean?
I wonder why it bothers him so much though. Like,
I mean, it's a person to person.
I mean, I guess I don't know. For me, man, like I like little stuff like that about my person. Like, like I don't say it again. Say that again. For real. Like I like the way. I like little stuff like that, like little things like that, like, or especially like, if there's like something like that I find out they're really like insecure that they don't know, it's like, nah, you good, you saying it right, something. For us, it's like I say water. Like people make fun of me because I say water instead of water. You can kiss my ass. I don't give a damn, bro. You know what the fuck I'm trying to say? The shit that's clear in the fucking bottle. That.
That's the shit that's clear in the bottle.
Bro, you know what I'm talking about? Water.
You locked.
Bro, for real.
Water.
Yeah, water.
Yeah, I don't know, bro. I feel like, but everybody's, different. It's like, maybe, because I know some people get, like, irritated when people, like, mispronounce their name, and it's like...
That's one thing, but
low-key it's the same. It's a word that you mispronounce.
But it's your name, though. Like, it's, like, your name, like, you know what I mean? For instance, like, dang. That's when I say your real name.
But even if you want to talk about that, bro, most of my life, people has mispronounced that. Teachers and all. It's like the way people say it, that's not how it's said. But you know what I mean? I have not cared. It's like, it's a name, it's a word. At the end of the day, you're just saying something.
I can see that, but then, like, I feel like the name's a little bit different because, like, what if you're saying my name wrong and you're trying to get my attention and I genuinely don't know who the fuck you're talking to? And it's like, I'm talking to you. How am I supposed to know? You know what I mean?
I do, but then again, it's like even when people get the name, I ain't gonna lie, some names people like butcher like a motherfucker, bro. Like how did you even get that from that? But at the same time, though, it's like usually though it's not too far off. You know what I mean? Now there's some exceptions where people got some crazy ass names, or for instance, how your brother Darius. But I like to say the Rice. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's two totally different joints.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah. And or like people the teachers would always be like instead of Thompson, my last name they'd be like Thomas. And like at first I didn't know what they were talking about because we actually had like somebody's last name was Thomas in the class.
Okay, that's
so now I'm trying to figure out
who you talking to.
Yeah, but eventually like sometimes people be like, yeah, Thompson.
Yeah. How do you get that though? Like that's one of those things.
Because
like,
Thomas is more a common name than Thompson is.
Bro, but look at the spelling.
Bro.
Thomas, like you ain't even gonna get into it though.
Bro, that's what I was like. But I mean, I see what you're saying though. Like I kind of got used to that eventually. Like sometimes I would know like, unless I'm in the class with a Thomas, then I'm really confused. But if I wasn't, oh, you probably talk about me. You just, and it's usually people that don't deal with people with weird names.
I don't even think the name is too weird, but
I mean, we talk about 8x11s and it is weird for them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess we can go to the next one. Hey, bro, relax on the names and stuff, bro. It's not as serious.
Nah, I ain't gonna lie, bro. It's really not that deep, bro. Like, just take a breather, bro.
Yeah, for real.
Take a Newport break and keep it pushing.
You know what I mean, bro? And if you know what you talk about, keep it pushing, bro. You know what I mean? You love her.
You love her.
Do you? Do you love her? I don't know. Am I the asshole for calling my boyfriend selfish? Alright. So, long story short, I, 24 female, have a boyfriend, 30 male, and he's a big gamer. He spends almost all the time in front of his PC, but it didn't really bother me until now. We had a trip to Paris planned for a few months now, and we were saving money for it. I was really excited since I've never been to Paris before. My boyfriend's paycheck finally came and I was ready to spend it on a trip as we agreed, but when I asked him to book the hotel, he said that he doesn't want to go on the trip anymore and that he prefers to spend his money on his games. Nigga. I got really upset and tried to argue with him, but he said that it's his money. He said that it's his money and that he can do whatever he wants with it. I called him selfish and yelled at him. I was sad after that and went on a walk. He started texting me something like, "I'm sorry, stop overreacting," but I didn't answer. When I got back home, he was mad at me for leaving and getting so angry. I feel like I might be overreacting, but he still acted selfish. What do you think? Am I the asshole?
I ain't gonna lie, bro. Fuck no. She's not the asshole in that situation.
That nigga tripping.
Now, there was points that he was like, "Oh, it's my money." Okay, nigga, you're right. If we didn't already agree on what we're gonna do with this, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If we already came to terms, when this check come in, we about to split it this way, and then when it comes in, you like, yeah, nah, I ain't gonna lie, psych. I'm gonna spend it on the damn nigga, like
that's very selfish.
Especially because it's like she talking about this trip, she's very excited about this trip. Y'all been talking about it, y'all been planning it, and it's like the funds come in now to do what you gotta do, and now you pull back. Now, if he didn't want to go on the trip, I feel like that's something he should have said before the bread got there. You know what I mean?
Fuck that shit, bro. Y'all been playing this shit out. I mean, yeah, that is true. I agree with you, though. You know, you're right. Yeah, if you didn't want to go, you should have said that, but you did. You didn't say that. So now all of a sudden it's time to do the shit, and you don't want to do it. You should have left your bitch ass.
Now leaving him for that,
I'm
already saying, but you know, hey, you know, some grit ball with that nigga. Throw some hot grits on his ass, get him right.
She can throw hot grits for not leaving. Shit.
I believe sticking in the relationship and making it work.
Yeah, that's definitely. This is not a leaving offense. I don't think. Now this is the third, fourth time he did that.
Okay, now that's something different.
Yeah, that nigga not changing. You leave him with his PC, but you know, this is something that y'all need to really discuss. Like he needs why did you make that decision? Like, why did you feel like your game was more important than the trip that y'all planned?
Well, I can see why he might have felt like that. If he's a gamer, that's his life. That's something he holds dear to him.
That's cute. You already talked about this, though.
Yeah, that doesn't change it, though. You know what I mean? Like, it's like this is what I cherish. This is what I love, right? And it's like, you want to go on this trip. So it could be, in a sense, the passion she has for this trip is the same passion he has for his games. You know what I mean? But my thing is, it's kind of like a be a man and stand on what you say.
I mean, but from what I read, it didn't say that I planned this trip. We planned it.
Exactly.
So
that's what I'm saying.
You know what I mean? So that's why I'm saying it's selfish.
It's selfish.
It's selfish as hell. Like, and it's cute. You can let that game, and I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with that. It is in this moment though when you're choosing yourself and what you want over what y'all was trying to do. Mm-hmm. That's selfish as hell. And no, she's not wrong for yelling. I would have black too. What the fuck you mean? You spent this money that we said we was ready. Oh.
I would have broke the PC.
So you don't want no snoo tonight, huh?
I ain't gonna lie, bro. I would have broke the PC. You had to buy a new one now with that money. Go ahead.
A word? You love his PC so much, huh?
No, for real, bro. Yeah. Like, and then him being mad at her for getting mad.
Oh no, that's what's that word? What's that? That's
main character syndrome. I'm wrong. Well, yeah, I'm wrong.
That's what I'm thinking. It is. It's kind of like you got upset because she was upset at you for what you did. And now you upset that she got upset. Like, what the fuck?
Now, don't get me wrong. The whole getting upset because another person is upset, I understand.
But there's a difference. I see what you're saying. It's different if you're upset because you don't like that your person's upset versus you're upset at them because they got upset at you. Mm-hmm. There's a difference between that. Yeah, you're upset because they're upset. That's because you care about your person. And it's like, I'm not upset at you. Not the second thing I said. Like, I'm not pissed at you because you pissed at me. I just don't like seeing you upset. Especially because you're upset that I did something. You know what I mean? Like, that bothers me. It's not like I can just sit here like no, like that's gonna bother me if I care about you.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah,
but no, yeah. I don't feel like Shorty was an asshole at all at any point.
You was right. Like, next time, take a hammer to that PC.
Yes. Fuck that.
Ma.
Go ahead, play your game now, bitch.
Yeah, play that game. We go to Paris, nigga. Word of shit.
That'd be crazy, bro. Say that watching her break the game and shit. Yeah.
What did they do? That music, that movie stuff, taken by the ear. We're going to Paris.
Yo, I used to hate when my mom pulled my ear out. I ain't gonna lie.
Shout out to my mom. She never pulled my ear. She just beat me with belts and hangers.
Shit, nigga. Boy, my mom used to yank that motherfucker like it's coming off, boy.
Chill.
So shit. You know my mom's short, man. She used
to chill.
Yank that motherfucker.
My mom used to punch me in the chest at John. Remember she did it to you? Man, God, it come out of nowhere.
Bro, you said be on my... Bro, look, this nigga came and got me from my house like, yo, my mom want to talk to you. No warning, no nothing, bro. I walk in the door. Hey, how you... Boom! What the fuck? I'm like, damn. I'm looking at him because, you know, that's bro. And out of respect for bro, I'm not going to say nothing to his mom, but I'm thinking like, yo, what the... Ain't this some bullshit?
That's crazy. You know, it's crazy. I had this story like that with your mom. But I don't think she was being malicious with it. Like, I had long hair. And, you know, and if you don't know, in the Haitian culture, like, boys typically don't have, like, long hair. But I had long hair at the time. So I went and she said, oh, what is this? I said, damn. And I was like, and I was kind of like, dang, like, you know. But now I know, and kind of same thing him with my mom. It's like, that's because they see us as their kids. And so they treat us as such. And so her doing that to me, like, that shows that she not just go walking up to nobody. Like, I remember it was one person who was cool with, like, because of his hair, she wouldn't even let him in the crib.
Hell yeah.
You know what I mean? So
hell yeah, my mom was deep.
Yeah, she said, he can't come in. Robby can come in, he can't come in.
Yeah, my mom was standing on that.
Shit, I said, cool.
Yeah, that was crazy. That ain't wild, bro. When she hit my chest, bro, I just sat there like, yo. I was in shock, for real. Like, did she really just put her hands on me? Yeah. What did I do? I'm so lost, bro. Ain't gonna lie.
Lord.
Shout out to your moms.
So, the word of the day is...
You're stupid.
Main character syndrome. Dun dun dun.
That's a crazy one right there, ain't gonna lie.
Hey now, what when you hear that, you know, what's going through your mind?
When I hear main character syndrome, I hear it's my world. You know what I mean? This is my world and y'all motherfuckers is living it. Mm-hmm. Now, don't get me wrong. I feel like you should carry some of that energy, but I feel like if you carry too much of it, because respectfully, the world does not revolve around you.
No, I don't.
So, thinking like that is actually bonkers. Like,
yeah,
believing that, you know, anything that happened to you, like people was out to target to get you or some shit like that. Like if a bird fucking shitted on you, you're like, that bird was waiting on me and shit like that, bro. I just feel like, nah, bro, the world does not revolve around you. Now, don't get me wrong. I do low-key have some main character syndrome. I'm gonna keep it a buck.
We all got main character syndrome. Like all of us carry it that way. And I think that's the reason why, like, I made that the word of the day, you know. And it's kind of like, it kind of ties in with everything. Like, for instance, like, why people are honest and such a transparent, because you feel like you don't got to share everything. You know, you feel like it's not that big of a deal, like what I'm doing, what I'm going on. Like, you know, that's just, it's me, you know, not really thinking about your partner. You know what I mean? Like, you're not thinking about the impact that your intent might have had, you know what I mean? Because you're just thinking about you, not thinking about them. Or you're not thinking about your person's emotions. You're only thinking about the logical side of things. You know, we all have that little bit of thing where we're in our own lane. And when we're dealing with other people, we're not thinking about, and it's hard. It is super hard to look at other people's perspective because we're in our heads. I'm just me, you know. But I feel like that's why we started this podcast. That's why we have these type of talks. It's because, like, try to be open-minded and look at multiple sides of situations. Like, all right, yeah, Robby, this is how you feel. This is how the thing went for you. What about the other side? Right? Really break it down. Okay, I can see why this person might feel like that. I can see that, right? It's not just about how I feel or how I will go about it, you know. Everybody wasn't the oldest boy and had 3 sisters, right? Everybody didn't grow up in Fredericksburg. Everybody doesn't have didn't grow up in a single parent household. Everybody wasn't taught or grew up in a church or taught the things that I knew. So then to assume that they did, and to assume that they're going to react and move the same way that I do because of that is not logical.
No, it's not. Like, I ain't gonna lie, bro. So, it's pretty funny that when I think of main character syndrome, the main person I think of, bro, is off of the show. My girl, she love watching Degrassi, bro. Hate that shit. But she love watching it, bro. But there's a bitch on there, bro. Her name is Claire. That is the embodiment of main character syndrome. Like, she used to be like, yeah, your problems is insignificant to my problems. In a sense of like, I'm going through this is the most important thing, it don't matter what you're going through. You feel me? That is like OD. Like, bitch, who the fuck is you? I ain't gonna lie, bro, if I was on the show, bro, I don't condone in beating bitches, bro. But I would have got a bitch to beat her ass, bro. I would have had to, bro.
Yo,
I'm so serious, bro. Like if you look her up and shit like that, watch a couple clips now, she did have a lot of personal growth in the show, which was cool. Yeah. But it's still fuck her. I ain't gonna lie. But main character syndrome, like a motherfucker, bro. Everything was about her. It had to be her way. It had to be the way she thought of it in her head. And it's like, who are you? You feel me? The Lord did not make you that special. Yeah. He did not. Yeah. I'm sorry. And it's like, that's who I think of when people say main character syndrome. Like, you believe that everything is insignificant to you. Like, Robby comes to me with an issue, and I'm like, bro, I got my own shit going on, bro. Your shit is not important, bro. You shouldn't even be tripping about that shit. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
that segment right there, like, people invalidating how you feel, you know, because it don't make sense to them, or you can't see past that, like, or just people be. And don't get me wrong, man. We all got our own stuff going on. You know what I mean? We all got our own issues. Everybody got their own stuff, but like, I feel like that's why we're all on this earth together. Like, we all have similar situations, you know. Like I said, like, I got 3 sisters, you got a sister, but we're still the older brother. You know what I mean? We're still protective, right?
Facts.
And it would be crazy for me to be like, oh, you only got 1 sister, so you wouldn't understand. Like, nah.
Technically, I have more than 1 sister.
One younger sister.
Technically, I got 4 younger sisters
that you live with.
Okay. You got it.
You know what I mean? Or okay, going about that, like, you know, you have more sisters than I do. Like, nah, Robby, you wouldn't understand. You know, you got more sisters than me, or I got more sisters than you. Know, you wouldn't understand, or be like, oh yeah, nah, so you're not from Maryland, you wouldn't understand. You know, like, that's disingenuous, and that takes away from the emotions, the feelings, the, you know, experiences that I've had. You know, and it's like, no, it's not, like you said, the world don't revolve around us. You know what I mean? I feel like, you know, and you should carry it as such. Like, people, I've seen people get so pissed off at people like, like, why are you in my space, or why are you talking to me? Like, who the fuck are you?
It's actually crazy.
I ain't gonna lie. Like, who the fuck do you think that you are? That you are above conversation. that you're above, interactions. Like it's 8 billion people on this earth. It's impossible. Like if we was meant to not interact with people, we would all have our own planet.
True. Now, here's what I said. It depends, like, cause me personally, antisocial. Some people could come up, talk to me, da. In the back of my head, why are you speaking to me? But it isn't a sense of, oh, I'm better than you. You're a peasant. You shouldn't be talking to me. It's more of, I don't want to be talking to anybody. But most definitely, people with main character syndrome is on the level of, I'm up here, you're down here. You shouldn't be allowed to speak to me. Like those shows or movies where it's like you got those royalty people who feel like peasants are just like, playthings and shit like that.
Bridgerton.
Yeah, most definitely. Nah, I fuck with Bridgerton.
Nah, I do. Nah, that joint go crazy.
That shit's fire.
Put us on the show, real life.
Matter of fact, when that nigga said, I burn for you, I still say that to this day. On God. Nigga snap.
Hey, look now.
That nigga snap.
Hey, nah, say nah.
But yeah, to be like, oh, because I'm here and you're here, you shouldn't be talking to me, or I can't take advice. You don't know better. Like, what the fuck? It could be people who's really down here, but their knowledge is all the way up.
And I hate that, like, especially like, I feel like that's the way our society is. Like, because you have a bachelor's degree and I got a high school diploma, because you got a master's, you know what I mean, or you are no service of me, or like because you don't, or you. Nah, like what? Like you can learn stuff from somebody with a doctorate. You can also learn something from a crackhead.
Yeah, man, crackheads have knowledge, man.
They do, man. Everybody anybody that's been on this earth who's had experience can teach you something.
Most definitely.
Whether it's teach you how to get there or teach you what not to do. You know what I mean?
That's a big thing.
Like I used to do ballet, right? Mm-hmm. And it was always this homeless guy. He would come up and ask for money every day. I'm like, bro, I'm working right now. Like, I don't got no bread on me, or, you know what I mean? Like, that's not why I'm here. And he told me, he was like, I'm not always asking for money. Sometimes a kind word just goes a long way. You know what I mean? And that right there, like, I was like, dang, like, that's crazy. So anytime I would see him, I would speak. Sometimes I'll buy him a little bit of McDonald's or whatever, and we would just sit there and chat. He would tell me about how he had a daughter and a granddaughter, and he would just, be there for his granddaughter and stuff, and he let them live in his house and all that type of stuff, and just really just really showing you that, like, he's still human, he still has experiences, he still has knowledge to give, right? Mm-hmm. He might not be able to tell me how to set up this equipment, you know what I mean? He might not be able to tell me how to get $1 million, but you know what he can tell me? How not to be in a position that he's in.
True.
How also to be able to be grateful for everything. Like, that man, he sleeps on the street. He used to sleep beside the dog park. You know what I mean? With no shoes on the sidewalk. But he still would be smiling every time I saw him. He has, you know what I mean? I'm not saying he has nothing, but he probably has the least to be grateful for out of a lot of the people I come across. But he was the most happy. Whereas the people that pull up in the Maseratis and the Lambos, and they're just so miserable.
Bro, it's very easy to take shit for granted. You know what I mean? You got that shit, you rocking out, and it's like, who made that song? You only miss the sun when it starts to snow.
I don't know.
Bro, he was like, you only miss the sun when it starts to snow. He said some other shit, but basically, the way I took that song, it's like, all the shit you have, most people take shit for granted, bro. It's like, my mom used to be like, there's people out there who don't have clothes to put on their back, or people who don't have shoes to put on their feet. And as a younger kid, I was like, okay, but they're not me. You know what I mean? But the message was, it could have been. You know what I mean? It could have been me. We could have been that family.
You a paycheck away.
Hey, bro, real shit. Man, fuck a paycheck. You're one mistake away from being there.
Right, exactly.
And it's like,
that's all it takes.
Bro, now when I drive through the city and shit like that, I see, bro, or cold nights, bro, I'm thinking, damn. Just when we were snowed in the other day, I'm like, yo, what about the people who don't have like a place to be?
I think about that all the time, bro.
I'm like, damn, it's cold as fuck outside.
I think about the dude I was just talking about. Like, I couldn't, like, where are you at this moment? You know what I mean? Like, are you okay? Like, I couldn't imagine being in that position where I don't know the next time I'm gonna eat. I don't know, like,
take that for granted,
I've resorted to the point where, like, I have to beg, or I feel like I gotta beg to get this stuff. Like, I'm probably gonna sleep next to this hotel, or I'm gonna sleep, next to the dog park or under the overpass.
Now, I just want to say personally, I'm a Robin still before I get to Megan, but that's besides the point. I feel like, nah, bro, I'm really thinking like, damn, bro, it's cold as fuck outside. Like, do you even have a blanket? Like, where did you sleep at?
We be talking about it's cold going from here to the car. Like, that's you. You outside the whole time. Like,
that's what I'm saying. Like, you got lay in the snow.
People look at you like you dogs. Like, they look at you like they look at them like they're animals. Like, I feel bad. Like, the job I do now, I do security. I have to kick out people all the time, and like, I feel, chill. I don't be doing all that, chill. But like, I feel bad at this. Like, I feel bad in general. Over the summer though, it's like, all right, at least it's warm outside. You know what I mean? Yeah. But like right now, like you said, it was just snowing. Like, what? Like, I gotta tell you to leave and go sit in this 8-degree, 4-degree weather. What?
Bro,
that's inhumane.
It is though, but.
I mean, I got a job to do, but like for them to have to go through that, that's like,
hell yeah.
I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy.
I wouldn't say that, but but hey, bro, I ain't gonna lie, bro. It is fucked up, but a lot of people look at them like, oh, well, that's your fault. You shouldn't have been there. You shouldn't have.
It's not that simple, man.
It's really not, bro.
It's not that simple.
And a lot of times you don't know what happened to them.
For real. It's really not that simple.
They could have been done dirty, you know what I mean?
Or a lot of them were former doctors and lawyers. Like, they had careers.
Mm-hmm.
And then all it takes is, you know, exposure to a drug or, you know, a divorce or anything could put you into that position where you just lose it all. And you know what I mean? And you think these people are just, you know, they've always been drug addicts, so they were just a bad kid in school. Like, nah. These are people that they had problems, they had careers and everything, and then it's that one thing, that one mistake, that one thing that takes them to that. Now, you know, they living on the street.
Hell yeah. I know it's low-key sad, but like a lot of times, bro, I think about those people and then I'd be like, damn, bro. That's when I really get into I'm so grateful. Now, don't get me wrong, you know, I'm the type of person, anything that happens, I'm grateful for it. You know what I mean? Whether it's big or small. But yeah, when I get to thinking about people who's less fortunate, bro, I'm like, damn, bro, you know what? I'm really lucky, bro.
Mm-hmm.
No lie, you know what I mean? Like, I got somewhere to rest my head.
Yeah.
If I need to, I got a car I can hop in and go somewhere and come back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that shit is just wild, but it's also like life be going on so fast, bro. You don't be having time to think about it all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That person who's in that BMW, they might have 3 companies that they're running, and one of them is on the verge of failing and shit like that, and they're so stressed. And it makes sense why that's the only thing that's on your mind, but at the same time, it has to be a delicate balance, bro. Because at the same time, you got to be thinking, damn, this company, this business about to crash, but it's also like, I'm grateful to be running this. I'm grateful to be in this position. You know what I mean? I feel like when we blow and we get to where we need to be or where we plan to be or where we deserve to be, you know what I mean? I feel like that's one thing that's going to keep me grounded, like from looking at where I was and thinking about where I could have been. You know what I mean? Like, could be homeless. You know what I mean? I could have been strung out on drugs, etc., etc. So
yeah, I feel that, bro. But I mean, outside of that, thank y'all for tuning in to Two Sides of the Heart podcast. You can find me on all socials at Robby Too Fast, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat. I got you on Snapchat, shit. But yeah, everything. DNS Soldier.
Hell yeah, DNS Soldier. DNS _Soldier, I think, on Instagram, and DNS Soldier 7 on TikTok. You know, go ahead, follow your boy. You know what I mean? Show some love.
Follow the show, man. At Two Sides of the Heart on TikTok, Instagram. We don't got no Twitter yet. Maybe we want this. When this come out, we might. I don't know. But yeah,
might as well.
Yeah. Okay.
And like I always say, fuck that nigga.